Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Gita Mary and this is the series where I rate, review and give my unsolicited opinion about some of our all sustainable zero waste swaps. I have gathered so many different swaps from around my house and I am reviewing them with you all, and I think it's a nice time. Okay, so let's just get right into it. The first zero waste swap of the day is reusable straws. Now I have a love-hate relationship with these things like you could not imagine. So I think there's so many different complexities to the whole straw situation. I think the straw in itself really captures some of the problematic within zero waste living and within the plastic bans of stuff. I've made a video about eco-ableism as well, where I sort of talk about some of the implications that can be for people with disabilities when stuff like plastic straws, for instance, are completely banned from use. That can be a big issue for people who actually need them. And I know a lot of people who have opted for reusable straws that otherwise would have used plastic straws, and I think that's great. I use them myself. In the other video I mentioned in terms of the bamboo cutlery sets, that I sometimes just get them without ever asking for them in weird PR packages. And this is absolutely the same thing when it comes to stainless steel straws, bamboo straws and glass straws, etc. I try to re-gift them to people who I know use plastic straws and perhaps now they won't. And it seems to be working rather alright. So I'm sort of infiltrating my local area with reusable straws. But the thing with reusable straws, just like with any other swap, is that we need to use them quite a lot of times for them to actually have a lower carbon footprint than that of plastic straws. So for instance, a stainless steel straw has to replace over 150 plastic straws in order to be more sustainable. It just really goes to show that a lot of energy and resources are put into these materials and into these products. So we have to use them a lot of times for them to actually be more sustainable. My point of all this being, if you buy a reusable straw to just seem fancy and then you forget about it and then you never use it again, it might actually do more harm than good. So for the reusable straw to actually be more sustainable, we have to use it quite a lot of times. And for the most part, many people can simply just go without using a straw, which I also think is a perfect, sustainable and very zero waste solution. Just drinking from a glass without one, if you're able to, is a really good option. Plastic straws wouldn't even be a problem if only people who were actually dependent upon them used them. So for everyone else who don't necessarily need any straw to drink, we can just go without. So if you're thinking about buying reusable straws but you don't really know, perhaps it's the best idea to not buy them. For this reason, I will give them a 3 out of 10. Because they are quite handy. I like going with my smoothies. I get the best out of them now that I have them. But if I didn't own any reusable straws at this point, I wouldn't consider getting them, honestly. Now, this next swap is, spoiler alert, one of my favorites. It's the Menstrual cup. This is one of my favorite low waste, zero waste swaps of all time. I love this thing to bits. It's one of my favorite things. It has reduced my period related waste with I don't know how many tampons and pads. Actually never used tampons, but pads specifically. I would use so many, and every menstruating person will in their lifetime, and this is just so amazing. And it's one of the best things I've ever done in terms of reducing my impact, in terms of getting a product to replace other types of products. By far one of my favorites. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. If you're interested in knowing more about how to use them and how they work and what you should do and what you shouldn't do and etc., reviews, I got you all covered. I have a whole playlist about menstrual products, so you can go and check that out as well. I would also just like to point out that there are other types of low waste, zero waste menstrual products. The cup is not the only option. You can also get period underwear or reusable pads, and either of those are also just completely okay, completely fine to use. I have just found that personally the cup is the right choice for me, but I actually also use the other types of products during my periods and I recommend them all. I think they're all amazing. Next zero waste swap is the cloth. That's really anticlimactic. It is the knitted cotton reusable kitchen cloth. This is a great alternative to both paper towels and to those kitchen cloths who are made with synthetic fiber, because something that's made with cotton is not going to release microplastic, but something that's made from polyester, other types of synthetic blends, They are. These simply go in the wash once you have used them. I am going to give the Kitchen Club a 10 out of 10. It's so great. And even if you get it like homemade, or you make it yourself, or you buy something from a charity, it's even better. But even buying something, you know, from a normal store and using it for years and years and years is also a really good swap. 10 out of 10. Now, I have talked trash about this product a couple of times, and some people are kind of taking it the wrong way. Please don't do that. You don't need to care about my opinion whatsoever. But we're going to talk about the stasher bag. This is a really practical, I'm gonna give it that, it's a really practical zero waste sustainable swap that sort of becomes an alternative to tons of disposable food storage options like plastic bags and cling foil and aluminium foil, all that kind of stuff. You can use this instead. It's microwave safe, it's dishwasher safe, but the reason why I don't like it is because I don't have a dishwasher, and they are an absolute pain to wash without a dishwasher. And I have other types of zero waste, low waste, upcycled food storage options like the mason jars that I think are much easier to clean, that I would just rather use. But if you have a dishwasher, I think this is an absolute gift to humanity. I think they're great. If you're more interested, now I've showed 2 different kinds of silicone products, so perhaps you're thinking, why, Gitte Mary? Is silicone sustainable? And I have a video about silicone because it does require a little bit of an explanation. For me and my personal experience of life, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 10 because I can see the practical abilities of it. I just don't like to clean it. But if you have a dishwasher, it can easily become, I don't know, like an 8 out of 10. It's great. It's never going to get like completely full marks from me because generally recycling silicone is possible, but very few people have the option to recycle silicone. So if this breaks, if there's a leak, if you end up cutting it with your kitchen knife, I don't know, it's very, very hard to reuse, upcycle or recycle because there are not a lot of facilities that offer that sort of recycling. So for that reason, it's never going to get full marks, but it is really practical, and I think you really need to do your best to try and break it. I've had this for 2 years, 3 years, I think, and it works completely fine still. There's nothing wrong with it, so don't cut it. That's all I'm saying. The next swap is stainless steel lunchboxes. Okay, so I have some tea here, but I also really like them, so I don't want to be too harsh because I do definitely like them. Also, are you wondering why I don't have the entirety of it? It's because it's in my fridge, and I'm going to insert some B-roll right about now. So I really, really like the option to store food in a lunchbox. I think that works so well. Do they have to be made out of stainless steel? No, not necessarily. Can they be made out of anything else? Yeah. Can they be found in thrift stores? Absolutely. It's completely fine. Is the lunchbox you have at home just as good an option? Yeah. It is. If you already own it, use it. Is an old pickle jar just as useful? Yeah, it is. Okay, I have a little bit more of information. So I have this, which is a 2-tier square lunchbox. And the thing I have with this lunchbox, although I do love it, I think it's super neat for storage. I love the idea that you can layer things that makes it so easy to store different types of food. And I use these specifically for foods that cannot be stored together, like different salads. And if we make burritos and stuff, we like to keep the veggies apart from the guac, and we need to keep the salsa away from the, you know, it's nice to keep things separate. I think that works really, really well for that. I know that the rounder tiffins are used a lot in the Indian cuisine, and they're really, really handy for that. So this is not by any means necessarily like a new zero waste exclusive invention. They've been used for quite some time, but I do definitely like the rounder ones better than this one. And I don't know if it's just specifically this one, but after a couple of months of use, the lid sort of ended up a little bit wonky, so now it's really hard to fit onto the lunchbox. It can be done, but it does require work. This 3-tier tiffin I have never had any issues with whatsoever. I love it to bits. This is from Eco Lunchbox, and this is one of, I think this was one of my first like sponsored things, gifts I got once I started to go zero waste. I got it via a Danish web shop that sadly no longer is in function. But I got this stainless steel lunchbox, and it is one of my oldest swaps, I think, that I still use pretty regularly. One thing that you should be aware of though is that you cannot contain anything in it that's too liquid and then put it in your backpack and then go to school and then pick it up at lunch and then everything is just completely sealed in. No, your slightly too wet lasagna will definitely have dripped all over your backpack. Why? No, I'm not speaking from personal experience. How dare you? So this is really great for stationary storage, I think. This is really, really great if you want to store something in the fridge, or if you're not going to go through your day like this. Then it's very possible that the seal won't hold. And if it's something that's a little bit wet, if there's a lot of dressing in it, it will seep out. Or at least it can. I've had the experience quite a few times where it's sort of, yeah, it's not amazing. As I had these accidents, I stopped using this one for really wet things as well, so I don't do that. And I don't travel a lot with very wet food. Giddy Mary 2021. And I'm going to give them, I don't know, like a 7 out of 10, I think. I think that's a pretty fair place to land. Okay. I have another stainless steel product. Who would have thunk? I have the stainless steel razor. I have also made quite a lot of videos about how to use the razor and why to use it and different types of razors. This is the very classical straight razor, and this is still one of those that I use pretty regularly. I also have the leaf razor, also recommend that, especially the twig leaf razor I think is great. But as this is the one that I started with, this is the one that I got accustomed to using, and I'm quite a habit creature like that. I really still like this, and I love using it, and Jens uses one now as well, so that's really neat. This takes a little bit of practice to get down, just like with the menstrual cup, but there's definitely lots of potential in it, and you will save so much plastic waste and waste in general by switching from a disposable blade, even if you use the disposable blade many times, and onto a safety razor. And it's also much better for your skin, and just, I really recommend. I think I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10, honestly. Sometimes I get comments on my videos and posts where I talk about the razor that this is actually a men's product, so how dare I use it? And I wish you all the best. And the last swap is the coconut kitchen sponge. There are a couple of different variety of the zero waste, low waste compostable kitchen sponge. This is the one that I have. It's made with coconut fiber, and then it is tied together with a little metal string. This can also be completely taken apart, so you can recycle the string with metal and you can compost the coconut fiber. I really like these natural kitchen sponges because normal conventional kitchen sponges are made with plastic and synthetic materials. They release microplastic. They're completely unrecyclable, and they are just bound to end up with general waste if they not wear away into microplastic before then. So it's not a really sustainable material in any sort of way, shape or form. So I really like these more natural solutions. They work just as fine. I love this to bits. This is a little tough, and you can also get some that are softer, other varieties. But I think these are really great. It's a super easy swap, and you don't need to learn new skills in order to use it. And it's really easy to take apart as well, which I also think plays in here. So I'm going to get this an 8 out of 10. An 8? Is that too little? I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10. I don't have anything negative to say. And on that note, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. Again, please continue to leave suggestions for other types of zero waste swaps in the comments. I would love to hear what kind of products you would like for me to rate, review, and give my unsolicited opinion about. That's all I'm there for. And I hope that you're going to have an amazing day. If you want to, you can subscribe to this channel. That would make my day so much better. I'm really close to a kind of a big milestone here, and I'm really nervous about it. I don't know. It's just like, oh, it's all very exciting. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you're going to have an amazing day. Take really good care of yourselves. Until next time. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and also a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys help me create green zero waste content, and I love you guys. You can find the links to my social media accounts down below and the link to my Patreon on this screen. Bye!